Hello there, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time popping in. Today we are doing a recent deck roundup. Y'all listen, here's the situation. I was not well in January, and it was also just kind of a crap show all the way around. And then there may have been some stress shopping that took place in February. So I've acquired quite a bit. So let's just look at everything and talk about it. But like, I make no excuses. Well, I just did make some excuses, but this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing with my time, and it's been great. And it's been feeling really good because I got kind of a little bit burnt out, semi-tarot burnout, a little bit tarot-related burnout, I should say. And then when I started to get my footing again, I just bought some things. So we're going to look at some things, talk about some things. As usual, these are things that have either been sent to me for review, if there is any in the pile, I can't remember, or things that I have purchased, been gifted, anything in that category. It's just anything that has come in that I want to show. So let's talk about it. Okay, the first thing I want to show isn't this deck, but I wanted you to have something to look at while I talk about this, and it's relevant, I promise. So I have not got this in my hands yet, but I did want to mention it, and I wasn't quite sure where to mention it, so I'll mention it in this video. Kara Simons, who is the creator of the Song of the Grandmother's Oracle, has written a book and is self-publishing it, and I'm very, very excited about it. I will have a link down below for you to check it out, as well as any relevant details. I believe it's currently due to hit backer kit as a crowdfunding campaign, much like a Kickstarter, on April 11th. So at the time you're seeing this, oh, it's only March. Okay, we're good. It's coming out in about a month, and the book is called You Belong Here, a story of otherworldly help in finding my place. And what Kara had to say about it is that it tells how she bridged out of relying on external authority to trusting herself and her connection to the other world, or what she calls the realm where spirit and imagination dance. And she said that she uses her personal stories to frame universal themes and includes both reflection, exercises, and how-to throughout this book. So she's really excited about it. I'm really excited about it. If you have Song of the Grandmothers, then you already know how heart-centered Kara's work is, and this book sounds beautifully heart-centered. So I wanted to mention it here and talk about it. I will have a link down below to whatever I can link, but you'll want to keep an eye out on Kara's Instagram or social media to be in the loop for when the Kickstarter goes live. So if there is a pre-launch page for Kickstarter, I'll link that. Otherwise, I will link something of Kara's so that you can keep an eye out for it. But again, it's called You Belong Here, a story of otherworldly help in finding my place. So keep an eye out for that to come out on backer kit. Like I said, I wanted to shout it out and mention it. I don't have it yet. She mentioned sending me a digital copy to check out, and I just don't have the time to read it right this minute, but I will be checking it out at some point, and I will let you know what I think when I've gotten my hands on it. I wanted to talk about it, and this is my freaking channel, and I can talk about what I want when I want. That's how I feel about that. But there, now you've had something to look at while I talked about it. This is just a silly thing, but I'm going to show it to you. So this came in by the company Astra House that makes the free write, because if you saw my show and tell, you know that I got my free write alpha in, and when they had first put the deck, or scarce, not the deck, when they'd first put the free write, which is a distraction-free typing device, writing device, when they first put that up on Indiegogo, there was an option to get like a leatherette type sleeve for it, and I had backed at that level because I wanted that sleeve. And then they came through the production process and realized it wasn't feasible to make it. It wasn't going to be the quality that they wanted. They weren't able to do it or whatever. So they gave me the felt sleeve instead, which is their signature product. But then there was a credit on my like Indiegogo account, and so I used that credit to pick this up. This is called Words Are Hard Creative Writing Prompts. And this is just fun. It's just fun. It's got a little card stand. And what it has is writing prompts based on genre. So there's a little bit of a how it works card, but you have basically cards for, say, adventure type books. So for example, here's one that is adventure, and it says, well, I'm not actually a doctor. I attended med school for a few semesters. I'm not so great at finishing things. Looks like I'm your best bet in the middle of the jungle, though, he said, between enormous bites of banana. And so they're like little bits of something that you can then use to write on, like fiction writing. So there's some children's section here. There's fantasy prompts, historical fiction prompts, horror prompts, mystery prompts, romance prompts, and sci-fi. I think that's it. Yeah, and sci-fi. So I just thought this was cute. I do enjoy fiction writing. I haven't had time for it a lot lately, but I'm hoping to make some time in the future. So I thought that would just be fun to play with. So I got that. And I love that it comes with a little stand. It's so cute. I actually have now 2 writing prompt decks. This one, which is very much based on fiction writing, and the one that Dawn Michelle sent me for the Writing Down the Bones book, like the ones that accompany the Writing Down the Bones book. So those are more, I feel like, open on what they could be, like fiction or nonfiction. So I thought that was fun. Okay, I also picked up the Sacred Shei Tarot by Ma Deva Padma. Now, if you know me and you've watched me for a long time, you know that the Osho Zen Tarot was my primary deck for years and years and years. And Ma Deva Padma was essentially the creator of that deck. The words in the deck, the guidebook, are basically hers with snippets of other stuff, but her stuff is the main stuff. That's the stuff that I use to work with the deck. And she also created the Tao Oracle, which is another long time favorite of mine. And so she put out a new deck called the Sacred Shei Tarot. I have to say, just right out of the plastic, opening this up, it already like took damage. I don't even know how it took this damage. Like I opened it carefully. It wasn't damaged while it was in the wrap, so I don't know. But the quality of this is, I'll be honest, not great. Like the physical production quality isn't great, even though it's fine, but it doesn't feel like, I can actually feel how loose this joint is, which might be why this tore. I don't know. It's very kind of floppy, so I don't know. There's just things that could have been done better. The book itself is also very floppy, perfectly fine, usable, and in the same kind of sideways format that her other decks have had. And then the deck itself comes in a tuck box. Now this part actually feels good, feels reinforced, I think. I don't know if that would survive a lot of shipping. I don't know. But this tuck box is terrible. Hold on, let me see if I can get it open. I struggled before. Like I really struggle. Okay, there we go. I got it. It is a very thin cardboard tuck box. This tuck box has to go for me. Like there's no way. It's a very, like, it's very squishy. You see, it's not like a sturdy tuck box. It's very much a smushy. So I'm kind of like, why bother? Just saran wrap and put in the box, you know, or whatever. So I'm a little bit annoyed by the production quality, but the deck itself is lovely. It is a pretty basic cardstock. It feels like, Hay House deck cardstock. So if you know that cardstock, it feels a little bit like that. I would say actually the finish feels a little bit smoother, a little bit more like a matte lamination. It doesn't have that uncoated feeling, but the actual cardstock is fairly papery and flimsy feeling. I don't know. This doesn't feel like a deck that's going to hold up super well, but it's beautiful. I feel like I just trashed it. I'm not this is all production stuff. Like a lot of times that's the publisher's decisions and not the creator of the deck's decisions, just to be clear. But that is what the backings look like. This has a very Osho Zen Tarot feel to it, I will say. And it's all keyword based, just like the Osho Zen Tarot. It's also all elemental. The elements and the cards do pretty much align with the tarot, although there's an exception in the 9s, which I'll talk about. But anyways, so you have all keyword based throughout the whole deck. This made me so happy though. I actually looked at this card the morning that Danny and I decided to change the name from Glitter and Gumbo to Glitter and Gators. And when I saw this, it felt like a sign from the universe. It made me so damn happy. And yeah, I know that might be like a crocodile. I don't know. I can't tell the difference, y'all. But like, it was still cool. I loved seeing this. And I really do love the majors for the most part. Although this card feels, this is the Justice card, and it feels very temperance-y to me. And then the Temperance card is Karma, which works, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And I think, which one is it that's actually Alchemy? Because it's not, the Alchemy card, is it the Hierophant? No, which one? The Alchemy card I would normally, there it is, it's the Magician. So Alchemy I would normally associate with Temperance, and Danny and I were chatting about that actually, but here it is the Magician, which, you know, the guidebook entry will probably make that make sense, an order for the Emperor. I feel like this makes sense when you look at it by itself, you know, when you don't hold it next to the RWS, and it is clearly based on the Rider-Waite-Smith system, but it's just, it goes its own way in a couple of places, but for the most part, it really works. So here we have the Earth suit, and I just want to show you the 9 here real quick. So the 9 in the Earth suit is this satisfaction card, right? Which works for the 9 of Earth. But then the 9 of Cups, and I only say this because I'm so picky about the 9 of Cups, y'all, but the 9 of Cups is indulgence. And it's very much like a cherub on a cake, right? And I kind of feel like satisfaction would have made a better keyword for the emotional suit, and indulgence, because this is very much all the energy of like, you've earned it, so enjoy your reward. That's kind of what it talks about in the book. That feels more 9 of Pentacles to me. So I feel like these two should have been kind of swapped in their theming. But other than that, and the alchemy. I think those were my only major sticking points. But if you do want to see a full flip through of this deck, let me know. But it is all keyword based. So this is the kind of deck that I feel like you could just pull out, shuffle, and start reading with, much like I felt like I could with the Osho Zen Tarot. So in that way, if you're just taking it at face value, I think it's probably going to be a really lovely one to work with. The court cards are not called court cards. They are just numbered cards 11, 12, 13, and 14. So there's the Queen. She's card 13 of the Earth suit. And there's the King, card 14 of the Wand suit, Integrity. So you can really kind of, even though it's based on the tarot, sort of set the tarot system aside a little bit when you're working with this and probably get really good, beautiful readings. Again, that's how I worked with the Osho Zen. So I can't really fault it for that, but I'm a little disappointed, kind of a lot disappointed by the physical quality of the deck though. So we'll see. But I do want to work with it, put it through its paces, and then kind of decide how I feel about it. So the Sacred Shei Tarot. Okay, finally we have received... Oh, I have to open these on camera. The I'm Here deck by Murphy Pines and the Tell the Story of You deck by Murphy Pines. So this was actually a free entire deck that got added onto the campaign because of stretch goals. This is the original deck, and the one that I originally talked about here on the channel. There was a lot of kerfuffles with the campaign, so it took a very long time to see fulfillment. Unfortunately, I think there's just a lot of like, sorry when I put my giant athame. There was a lot of, I think, just miscalculations on the part of the creator with how much things were going to cost, how the shipping was going to work, especially with an entire second deck. Like, this adds a lot of weight to the package. So I think there's just a whole bunch of little things that kind of went on, and I know people were pretty unhappy about it. I was one of them, to be completely honest. I was disappointed by how, you know, it went and how it was handled. But something we need to remember, I think, too, is that first-time creators are going to make mistakes. Like, I feel like I've been very blessed. I know I'm still going to make mistakes on my own Kickstarter, right? I'm sure there's going to be stuff I didn't think about, and I'm very blessed to have been watching these Kickstarters, buying Kickstarters for many years, and being able to sort of have my own experiences as a backer, but also to have talked to other people who've created decks and like what their pain points were. And I'm very lucky to have people that I can reach out to and talk to that have been through it. I don't think Murphy was in that spot. So I really want to extend a lot of grace and compassion in that situation, but that doesn't make it an okay thing. The backers had to go through what they went through. So I think that the best was made of a situation, and I'm really pleased to see that the decks have finally come and arrived. So let's take a look at them, because the energy in these decks, y'all, I just have to say, all the frustrations of the campaign itself aside, I've had the prototype for a long time, and I held off working with it a lot for client work, etc., because I wanted to wait for the full one. And I was okay with that. I was okay with the extended wait. But the energy of this deck is so lovely, and I definitely want to see it, you know, get some use despite the challenges. So it comes in a sturdy 2-piece box. We have a sweet little guidebook with information for every card, which is great. I'm going to get into I guess I got to pull this back out. We got more plastic. This is something that's very difficult to avoid, by the way, the plastics. I know some people are like, don't put my stuff in plastic. And I get it, but it's very difficult to get things not like this. And then when they don't come in plastic, then they get messed up in shipping. So I understand. I get it. Look at the pretty side rainbow holographic gilding. So everything arrived exactly as expected. And this is the core deck. So it's a basic finish. It's actually kind of got a little bit of a gloss look to it. It's not gloss, more like like satin maybe. Yeah, it's a little glossy. Really sweet imagery and really lovely. I think it's a really lovely self-care deck. We have all the same cards from the prototype. I think there's actually a few more. But I'm really excited to pull this in for myself, for client work. I love that we get not only the keyword, but a little message. So here you have express, and then it says, take all those thoughts and feelings and let them out through an outlet that feels healthy and right for you. But I really love Murphy's artwork. Focus is the image we see on the cover of the guidebook. Gather, give, glow, ground, harvest. So yeah, really pretty. I've always loved these backs too with the rainbows. Zoom out. I love that. I really think this is a really great set of keywords for healing work, for self-love work. So I'm really excited to have this, to be honest. I have not checked it out in any detail, but I'm excited. The bonus deck, I honestly have no idea how I'm going to use, but let's talk about it. It looks like maybe there was a plan to put a book in there and then one didn't. I mean, it makes sense if there was a cost issue that wasn't able to happen. But it is a little bit weird to have that big gap on the top of the cards, but I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure how, this night is probably making people nervous. I'm not sure how to use this because there's not really, it's more of a title-based card system as opposed to, it's more titles than like keywords. And it sort of came about in portions through the campaign, like it was a stretch goal. So first we got zodiac cards. So we have Aquarius, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Pisces, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Virgo. And then there's planets. So we have Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, the Sun, Uranus, and Venus. So those came about. And then we have elements, air, earth, fire, water. And then these are enneagrams. So we have the reformer, helper, achiever, individualist, instigator, loyalist, enthusiast, challenger, peacemaker. Now I do know, let me back up because I realized what I said earlier and I want to be clear. There was never a promise in the Kickstarter at all that there was going to be a book for these. In fact, I think it was pretty clear that there wasn't going to be. I just was referring to the space in the box, that it should have been shorter if there was no book. And then there's some plants, I think. We have black orchid, coconut, daffodil, forget-me-not, lavender, lotus, mugwort, pine, rose, and sunflower. But this feels a little bit like I don't know what I would use these cards for. So if anybody has any thoughts or ideas or feelings about this little bonus deck, but again, this was like a freebie. This was an add-on. I didn't buy this. I bought this, and it was very reasonably priced for what it was. Probably priced too low, obviously, but I'm very, very grateful to have it, and I can't wait to work with it. Oh, I did get a deck for review. That's right. I was sent by the publisher the, oh my gosh, Messages from Her deck. This is a 44-card oracle deck and guidebook celebrating modern, world-changing women. So I feel like I think in the States, it is Women's History Month. Y'all, I'm terrible with this kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure in April, maybe March. But they also sent this cute sticker and this cute little card. I'm a woman, phenomenally phenomenal woman, that's me, by Maya Angelou quote. So that was really lovely. So they sent those little extras in there. This is being published by Andrews McMeel. And really lovely detailing on the box with this gold. I remember seeing this. Oh, it's a hardbound book. Oh, cool. I remember seeing this, I feel like, on Kickstarter, and I was like, I don't know how I would use it. I'm still not 100% sure. But I want to share it with you because I think it's beautifully done, and I think the quality is really good, and I think that the themes are really neat. I'm just not sure how to work this into my own practice, but I really love this, to be honest. So it comes in this kind of a box. We have gold foiling details. I don't know if you can tell, but there's gold foil details on the back. So the stars and this border are actually a gold, but they're also glossy cards, and they're gold gilded. So we have famous women from history or from the present time. So we have Amelia Earhart for adventure, Anne Frank for hope, Annie Easley, Aretha Franklin, Beyonce, Cher. There are several music people in here I noticed. Cyndi Lauper, Diana, Princess of Wales, Dolly Parton. And each one also has a keyword, which is great. Eleanor Roosevelt, Erykah Badu, Estee Lauder. I thought this was cool. Estee Lauder, my mom used to buy her stuff. Frida Kahlo, Georgia O'Keeffe, Gloria Gaynor, Gloria Steinem, Helen Keller, Irina Sendler, Jane Addams, Jane Goodall, Janelle Monáe, Julia Child, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Lizzo, Madonna, Malala, Marie Curie, Marie Forleo. This is great. Marie Forleo. Man, when I was doing yoga, I think it's so cool that she's in here because I think she's a pretty great, she's done a lot, and I think it's pretty great. She's very much a woman, heart-centered entrepreneur, sort of professional, and she did a lot of content. I don't know if she's still doing them, but she had all kinds of like videos and stuff about just being, acting as the CEO of your entrepreneurship, of your business. And she was really impactful for me when I was doing my yoga business. Marilyn Monroe, Martha Stewart, Maya Angelou, Michelle Obama, Nina Simone, Oprah Winfrey, Patsy Mink, Queen Elizabeth II, Rachel Carson, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Sandra Day O'Connor, there we go, Serena and Venus Williams, Sylvia Rivera, Toni Morrison, Wilma Mankiller, and I love this, you. Baby, it's you. You, wonderful you. So that's really cool. I love the aesthetics of this. It's got that kind of almost like 70s-ish sort of vibe to the tone. And all the cards have gold foil detailing, which again, I don't think it comes up on camera very nice because of the gloss on the cards, but it's a really nice little set. And a hardbound book. So for every card entry, so here's Janelle Monáe. You get the birth date and the death date if there is one. So I think a lot of these people are alive, but yeah, like Frida Kahlo, 1907 to 1954. Let's look at hers. You get a quote, I'm assuming of Frida Kahlo. I have not looked into it to know that for sure. You get the meaning of the card, alternate meanings, and then you get her history. And you get a whole bunch about this character. So you really get to learn about this person and obviously why they picked her to be in this book. So that's really, really great. Let's take a look at the beginning. So why these 44 women? Who is this book and deck for? How to use it? We have some spreads. And then we get right into it. Is there anything in the back? There's you, and it talks about what the meaning of the card and an alternate meaning as well as history. So these are questions for your own history to consider. So just a really beautiful little set. So I will have, as with everything, I'll have everything linked down below. I'm going to keep the sticker. I'm going to keep the sticker in there. Actually, I'm going to tuck it into the book, just like that. This really lovely set. So we'll see. If you have any ideas on how you might work with something like this in your practice, let me know down below. I'm curious to hear, because this is something I think a one card draw just to sit with it might be kind of neat. So we'll see. We'll see. Oh my gosh, there's so many things I want to show you. Okay. There's a couple mass market things I picked up. So let's talk about those. Oh my gosh, y'all. Oh, I forgot to show you. There was a pin. Murphy also sent us with the I'm Here, the original backers. I don't know if this pin is for sale, but it's really cute. My heart is my home. This sweet little pin. It's an enamel pin. So this had to be produced. I have to tell you, this kind of stuff in Kickstarters is a whole lot of work. We don't realize. I'm trying to keep my Kickstarter extras focused mostly on quality for my deck, because it's really complicated, especially for your first time doing a Kickstarter. It's a lot to manage. The fact that Murphy got it all to us at the end, again, props to Murphy. I know it was tough. Tough on backers too, but that little pin is so cute. Okay. So many mass market things. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. I feel like I'm overwhelmed by my own stuff. Okay, so I picked up the Mystic Palette Tarot. This is the mass market edition of Ciro Marchetti's Mystic Palette. This is the muted edition. Now, if you get the color edition, I believe it comes in a bigger box with a guidebook. This version does not. It is freaking huge though. So this is old school. We used to get decks in this kind of packaging back in the day. Like the Robin Hood Tarot came in this kind of a box. It's kind of wild to see it come back, to be honest. These cards are so big. So let me just grab my Unicorn's Journey real quick so you can see. Because this is standard tarot size. I don't know why they're this big. I don't think the indie edition of the Mystic Palette was quite this big. I think it was a little larger than standard tarot, but this is big. This also feels like the same stinking card stock that tarot, Sacred Shei tarot is on. So it feels very papery and flimsy and floppy. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how it's going to hold up. I think I'm going to shuffle it in this video so that we can kind of see, because I'm so curious what that kind of cardstock shuffle is going to feel like. This is the thing. Ciro decks and I have a complicated relationship because I absolutely adore every single thing that Ciro Marchetti creates. Every single thing. I think it's glorious. It's beautiful. I have a weird association with it though, because a Ciro Marchetti deck was like my first, I would say, like kind of Rider-Waite-Smith themed deck that was very strongly, it felt more like a traditional tarot because I'd been using the Osho Zen for so many years. So I have a strong bond with one specific Ciro Marchetti deck. And historically, every time I get a different Ciro Marchetti tarot deck, I end up letting it go because I just want to use that original one that I have that strong bond with, which, by the way, is the Legacy of the Divine, if you're curious. But this was so unique for Ciro, this muted edition of the Mystic Palette, that I really wanted it, but getting it indie was going to be crazy expensive, and I'm like, I don't want to get it if, like, I'm not going to use it, and it was a whole thing. So I waited for it to hit mass market. It has. Now I have it. It is absolutely beautiful. Now I'm like, do I actually want the color edition though? Now that I have it in hand, because I'm such a sucker for color. But I love this. I love how different this feels from Chiro's other stuff. And I think if I'm going to use it, I'll find out with this one. I love this hermit card. So this is just really, really beautiful. If you know Chiro, you know his artwork is exquisite. It's absolutely beautiful. He knows tarot really, really well, and it shows in the depictions he chooses for the cards. I freaking love it. Something just beeped. What is beeping at me? Oh, a download is complete on my computer. Anyways, it's so beautiful. I want to shuffle it and see what the shuffle feels like. Because again, it's also huge. Look at this freaking Three of Swords, though. Look at it. Oh, it's so good. His artwork, just watching how it's evolved over the years, has been really cool to see. But there's astrological symbols and alchemical elemental symbols you can find on all of the cards. It's a really good deck. We will see if it's going to be too brown for me at the end of the day. But I love these sepia tones. They just give it a different feeling. And I feel like actually, I don't know. Let's see how it shuffles though. Let's see how it shuffles. I don't know if it was any thicker, I don't think you could shuffle a deck this size. Now I do have pretty stretchy hands, so I feel like I can stretch around it. And if it's thin enough, all right, okay. I'm gonna have to eat my words, y'all. Okay, yes, it's a little bit floppy. But if it was not floppy, there's no way I'd be able to shuffle these giant cards, and it actually shuffles really nice. It doesn't feel overly floppy when I'm shuffling it. Okay, as an example, Celia Melville Boo Tarot, when I shuffle it, it has a kind of slappy feeling instead of a shuffle. This has enough resistance that it doesn't feel slappy, and look at the mix. So I think I might have to eat my words. It does feel a little bit. Now I want to shuffle the Sacred Shei Tarot. Hold on, let me just, because maybe I'm just being a brat. Let me just see, because this felt kind of cheap, but it didn't feel like it's gonna warp. It feels like it has a matte lamination on it, and yeah, it's a little thin, but it shuffled nice. So let me just benefit of the doubt. I can always put these back in order for a video, but let me shuffle them, because now I'm like, am I just being a jerk? Oh yeah. Okay, now this one, if you can look at how it stopped. See, after I was done shuffling, I don't know if you can tell. See how the top card is bent? Do you see that? This deck is definitely going to work. Now, I didn't pay attention with the Chiro deck, so I'm going to check it again. Yeah, see, this almost does have a bit of that slappy feeling. Yeah, this one, did you hear it? You can hear it. This one has a bit of that slappy feeling. Okay, and if you look, if I loosen my hand on the deck, see how it's already warping in spots? That's not a good sign. That's what the Boo Tarot did to me. Yeah, it's got a bit of that slappy feeling, even though this deck is quite a bit smaller. Like, look at the card size difference. But when I do it with this one, I'm so curious, because these cardstocks at first, they felt similar, but now I'm like, no, I don't think they really are. Okay. I guess there's a little bit of a slap. But when I hold this deck and I loosen, it's not doing that weird warpy thing. Like the top card, maybe a bit. I mean, these aren't cored cardstock. This is a coreless cardstock. You can tell, or it's a gray core. It's like a basic, right? I don't know now. I don't understand what the difference. Yeah, you can just tell when I bent it that way, all the cards like kind of bent that way. So it just doesn't, I don't know. That's bugging me. Okay, I don't know. Let me just feel them this way. Okay, yeah. Felt this way. They seem like there's, you know what? It's for science. Okay, I'm just going to put the stacks side by side because I think this cardstock is actually thicker than this one. Yeah, this one is a little thicker than this one. If I put them down, yeah, this deck comes a little higher. Not by much. Not by much. But there's a tiny bit of a difference. Maybe. But it could also be the coating that makes the difference. I don't know, y'all. This has been coated, not laminated. That's probably what the difference is. I think this has a lamination on it. And I think this has a coating, like a liquid coating applied. Y'all, I'm just nerding out for a minute. Lamination does provide a little extra sturdiness to the card. It's barely perceptible, but in an entire deck, it can make a difference. Oh no, what have I done? Did I shuffle in reversals? Or just the top card? Is everything else? Yeah, the top card I just put back wrong. Okay. Anyways, this little like sidetrack aside, this felt surprisingly nice to shuffle, even though it is big. If you have small hands, you will struggle with this size, but let's do a quick little side shuffle. It is bendable enough. I feel like you'd kind of have to drop shuffle it if you side shuffled it, which also does mean that the cardstock stock is sturdy enough that it's not totally like bending so much when you do it sideways. So actually that makes me feel a little bit better about this one. We'll see. I'll report back. I'm probably going to put some of these in use in my next Magical Unicorn and Up member reading stream. So I will report back how some of these ones read. Not a huge fan of this box, but like it also saves money. And if you're not the type to use your boxes, it doesn't really matter. Okay. I also got in the Tarot of a Moon Garden. This is a US Games re-release. I'm actually really excited about this. I had this deck ages ago and it came in a tuck box with a little white book. The little white book wasn't great. And there was giant borders that I hated, but I also didn't want to trim it because the borders didn't really lend themselves to trimming. So when I found out this was coming back out and I saw how expensive it was, I was like, what the heck? And then somebody commented and said, oh, it's more expensive because it comes with a guidebook. And I'm like, okay. And then I get it in. And not only does it come with the guidebook, which yay, really beautiful full color guidebook even, which is just beautifully done and smells so good. I love the smell of these guidebooks. But the deck has a different form factor. It is gilded, first of all, and linen. So that's exciting. So it has these purple gilded edges, which we know are going to get beat up, but I mean, I'm here for it anyways. And it's been cut or redone so that there's only titles at the bottom and the images are borderless. It's a really fun shape. Let me just hold up a standard tarot again next to it so you can see. Woo! If I don't throw it on the ground. Okay, there we go. So you can see it is quite a bit narrower than a standard tarot and also quite a bit taller. Like, there we go. It's that much taller and it's that much narrower. But I'm excited about this. I truly am. I really want to shuffle it. But yeah, it is a linen cardstock. It is not a glossy linen. So I don't know if you can see that. It's a matte linen or a semi-matte linen. But I really, if you know this deck, you know. But I love this, the way that it's been cut. And I'm really excited to play with this. Like really excited. It's kind of pippy, but it's also kind of not pippy. It's kind of a cross between scenic and pippy. Like there's the 10 of Pentacles. I'm really excited to have the guidebook for it. Like this is what we're talking about with these boxes. It's got like a full box and see, it did take some damage in shipping. You can see it. But because of the way this is built, it's not falling apart the way these kinds of boxes often do in shipping. So that's good. I mean, I'm going to put it in a bag anyways, so it won't matter. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. But it came with one of these. Do y'all remember these old school mats? Like these big fold out sheets? Look at this. So it's a big Wheel of the Year spread that you can do. And it tells you where you can find a description of this spread in the guidebook. So that's kind of fun. And then this guidebook though, like it's a chunker. There's a lot of information for each card. There is the rendering, the reading, and the ritual for each card, which is pretty cool. So I'm really excited to play with this, actually, like very excited. So we shall see, but it's a really lovely set. The production quality makes the price make sense, and I'm really pleased to have this. And then I finally bit the bullet and got the Everyday Witch Oracle. And the reason I got this is because, let me pull out my Everyday Witch Tarot. The reason I got this is because Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Alba are working on another oracle for this deck. So this is by the same people that did the Everyday Witch Tarot, which in my opinion is a cult classic at this point and much deserved. Here's my very well-loved copy. I love this deck so much. Now, when the Everyday Witch Oracle came out, I didn't think it was going to work for me. And I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because that was a social media thing for me. Like I was hearing other people talk about it and I kind of talked myself out of it. And the really sad thing is I'd heard from the creator and they'd offered to send me a signed one. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll use it. And I don't know. I wasn't sure. So I was like, nah, which was, regret. But, there you go. Anyways, this is actually really beautiful. I think the biggest issue with this deck is that it's a little difficult to navigate the guidebook. However, I mean, these cards are really beautiful. They're really beautiful. I love having these, like when you look at the original and then you see this big, beautiful artwork, like it's really neat to see it big like this. But I really like these cards. So I might have to figure out some way to number them or something so that I can find the entries. They're numbered in the guidebook, but the numbers just aren't on the cards. And they're not in alphabetical order in the guidebook. So I think that's the bigger issue. but they're really pretty. Anyways, I've sidetracked. Deborah and Elizabeth are working on another oracle for this deck called the Everyday Witch Familiars Oracle, and that's coming out, I think, later this year. And I'm like, well, I'm going to want that one too, so I might as well just pick this one up. And as soon as I got it in and started looking at it, I was like, oh my God, this is all the cheesy witchiness I have been wanting. I love it. Truly, I do. And it makes me excited to pull this out and use it in conjunction with my Everyday Witch Tarot. I kind of wish my Everyday Witch Tarot were this glossy, but this is one of the older copies before they started doing this glossier finish on their cards. Just because then the finish would match, and I'm a dork about things like that. But I'm really happy to have this in. I don't know, this is again quite big, but it's Oracle deck size. Like, we expect it to be big. It's fine. So I'm very excited to have this in and to start working with it. So that is the Everyday Witch Oracle to go with the Everyday Witch Tarot, which I have used this deck so much over the years. I love it. You can see how worn my edging is from thumb shuffling. It's funny. Anyway, very excited about that. Okay, the next thing is kind of a weird rabbit hole, and Dawn Michelle made a video about these decks, and I haven't watched it yet, but she and I have definitely talked about them. So I'm going to pull out all the things. This was totally a whole rabbit hole that has to do with playing Baldur's Gate 3. So if you are bored with that topic or you don't want to hear it, just skip ahead. But there's like 4 decks I'm going to talk about. So the first one is Notoria, Tarot in Light. These are decks, and this is Goetia, Tarot in Darkness. These are by Fabio Listrani. When Dawn first told me that this felt like Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3, I was like, I don't get it. And then the more that I looked at it when she was showing cards, I was like, oh, I get it now. Okay, I understand. So I got it for that reason. There's something about this art that definitely feels exactly like Astarion to me. And so I love that. But there's a deeper theme to this deck. It is themed after the angels of the Shem Hamatharash. I probably am slaughtering that pronunciation. I'm so sorry. But there are 72 angels from the Shem Hamatharash. I don't know a lot about it. I do have an ebook so that I can learn a little teeny bit more. I'm not really trying to dive, if I'm honest, into the 72 angels, just like I'm not trying to dive into the 72 demons of the Goetia, the Ars Goetia, which is from the Lesser Keys of Solomon, which is what this deck is based on. I'm not trying to work with some angels and demons right now. That's not what I'm about. On a superficial level, though, I really like this artwork, and I really like the way that it feels like it connects to the sort of light side of this character, Astarion, or a side of him. I don't know if I'd say it connects to the light side of him, but it feels like him. And it feels like what he kind of represents in a way. And so this feels like that, and it's really great. And the guidebook that comes with it has these really great entries where you come to a card, you get the angel, you get, oh, that's the different language. Okay, here we go. You get the angel, you get kind of its name, you get an invocation, don't care about that. We get some attributions, which are some correspondences basically, like the astrological sign it's associated with, the planet, etc. And then you get a little write-up about that angel, which is so helpful in trying to determine what this card might mean for you in a reading if you're the type to refer to your guidebook. Can be very potent. Good stuff. Love that. And I was expecting to work with this deck in harmony or in conjunction with the Goetia deck because they just look cool side by side. To be honest, I'm just going to pull out from card 73. Okay, the Goetia deck, same packaging. These are Lo Scarabeo, I believe. Yeah, Lo Scarabeo. Same packaging, same kind of premise. Still based on, this is based though on the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia. Now there is 78 cards. The way they get around that is that here's the 73rd. In the angel deck, you get Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Michael as your 4 extras, and they are associated with the 4 aces. And then you get Metatron and Lucifer as the, so Lucifer's the devil and Metatron is the lovers. So you get, that's how they come up with all 78, even though there's only 72 angels. So they mapped the first 72 angels to other cards in the tarot, and then they mapped the aces to these archangels, and they mapped these 2 characters to other cards in the tarot. Anyway, that's how they come up with 78. But they do the same thing in the Goetia tarot. And this one is based on the 72 demons of the Ars Goetia. Again, it's one of the books in the Lesser Keys of Solomon, and they did the same thing where after the 72nd you get the 4 aces, and these are literally just, in this case, just called the sword, the vessel, the disc, and the wand, and then you get Lilith and Lucifer for the final cards. But here's the thing. When you put these on the table side by side, you get this very visually striking kind of light shadow dichotomy, which is very, very cool. And so you go to the guidebook, like you would go to the guidebook for the angel one. You go to the guidebook and you look it up, and there's some great write-ups about the Ars Goetia and about demons, like what they meant to people, etc., in the case, in a way that like sort of, I think challenges some of the stereotypes around demon work, which is cool. But then when it comes to the actual write-ups for the demon, you don't get, like, look at the difference in, they're the same thickness, but there's not the same amount of information. So instead of a single write-up per demon, all you get is this stinking table, which is obnoxious. I wanted so bad to have more information, but yeah, what you get is a table, and it's super tiny, and it has the angel, the card that is associated with it, a single keyword, another keyword. How is this mapped again? Oh yeah, you get name, card, meaning, nature, planet, zodiac, and the traditional tarot association, because there are traditionally tarot cards associated with the demons and with the angels. So you get that. You do not get any write-ups. And then you go into the next language. So there's no write-ups. So you get a write-up for the angels, but no write-up for the demons. Which, why wouldn't they do these guidebooks in the exact same way? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand. So, as a result, it's been a whole thing of like me and Dawn trying to find good resources for... What do I have here? Oh yeah, I have card one somehow here. Trying to find good resources to try to have some sort of reference. And I believe what we settled on, or what I settled on, is some independently published books that at least give you a little write-up for the angels and a little write-up for the devils, or for the demons rather. So it's really cool. Like I said, I'm looking at these through a totally different lens, not trying to do demon work because I don't know enough about that to get into that. But I am looking at these through, like I said, a more superficial lens, but then using them as a jumping off point for either readings that sort of connect me back to my work in the game, which is just for my own personal work, or doing kind of a light shadow type reading. That's kind of how I anticipate working with these, but I have not worked with them yet. I'm getting ready to pull them out to do some readings, so I will keep y'all posted about how that goes. And actually, I should keep these out so I can show you the next couple of decks, because the next were Oracle decks to try to go with it. So let me just keep the cards out for a second. Okay, let's just do that. Okay, so here is the angel one. Here is the demon one. And then there were two oracle decks. So when we were talking about what oracle decks might work with this, I immediately suggested this Paolo Barbieri Dante's Inferno, because it feels like thematically it's like on point. These are both also Lo Scarabeo decks. It seems like Lo Scarabeo goes into some territory that maybe other publishers don't, which, I mean, I get that. But this is based on, obviously, Dante's Inferno. And specifically, the best way to sort of explain that is it's from the Divine Comedy, composed by the Italian writer, poet, and philosopher Dante Alighieri, and completed in 1321. And so the narrative is divided, I'm reading this from the guidebook, the narrative is divided into 3 cantiches or parts, which follow the adventures of Dante as he makes his way through hell, purgatory, and finally heaven itself. So this is based on the hell portion of that journey. And the guidebook is actually written by Charles Harrington. And there is decent little write-ups for the cards, which is great. But thematically, this really does feel like energetically, like it feels kind of like it's in line with the art style of these other decks. But this has names like Roiling Torment, Price of the Ferryman, City of the Damned, Handmaidens of Malice. Like, it's pretty intense. And the guidebook write-ups are very sort of like shadowy, pokey, self-reflective in a way where you're like really looking at your crap, which is great. I don't mind decks that do that. In fact, I tend to kind of gravitate towards them if I'm honest. The visuals are kind of intense in this one for sure, but it does line up really nicely with this deck. So I'm going to put it to the side here. And then Mausolea, Oracle of Souls. This is illustrated by Jason Engel. I don't think it even says who wrote the guidebook on the box. So this one feels a little more functional because it has good keywords on the cards, but the guidebook isn't, I don't feel like, as good from what I've seen so far. So, and Dawn and I kind of were chatting about these decks, and we, played with them a little bit and talked about it, but this one is more based on, I don't know how it would describe it here. A unique deck, dark fantasy world where myths and legends are woven together to create a tapestry of souls. So these are characters you're going to recognize. So we have Abraham, okay, maybe not the traveler or the thinker or the exile. These are like, or the maestro. These are more archetypes. But then we have like Poet of Avon, Hades, Vanth, Thanatos, Aran, Morgan Le Fay, the Prince, Eternal Servitor, Osiris, Anubis, Set. So these are more like character driven, but these cards have the title, who kind of that is. So here's Abaddon, Overlord of the Abyss. But then down here, there's 3 keywords: pestilence, corruption, and malice, or humility, disillusionment, and champion for Jean the Maid, or bravery, self-discipline, and faith for the Leper King, etc. Right? The backs of this, I don't know, feel more like in alignment somehow. I don't know why with these. But it might be cool, and I think I'm going to play with working with all 4 of these decks together, kind of like this. And I feel like this pairs really nicely specifically with Notoria, and this feels like it pairs really nicely with Goetia. So I think they're going to all play really nicely together as kind of like a deck family, which I don't do a lot of, honestly, in my practice. But these are the kinds of decks that I would work with for myself specifically. I don't think I'd be doing client work with any of these. Typically, that's not what I would do. But I'm really excited to kind of see where this takes me, especially when I think about the fact that the game has become a place for sort of self-reflection and self-care for me. And then having this to work with kind of brings the depth. I don't know if any of that's going to make sense when I say it out loud, but there we go. So these 4 decks, I am excited to sort of play with and see what kind of readings I get from them when I work with them together. But in play so far, I can tell you that when I've kind of played and just kind of randomly pulled from these decks, I've gotten some very interesting, thought-provoking readings out of that. So I'm really excited to kind of put the whole thing together and play with it. But that is what I'm doing with these. Does that bring us to the last one? I think it does. I'm so excited about this. Let's talk about it. This is Journey. Oh, thank you for putting Journey in your video. You're welcome. And there's some goodies, and there's like some stuff. Okay, we're going to talk about this. I'm so excited about this. This was a deck. If you missed it, this was a deck that I backed in the middle of a hot takes. Look at this. That's how the box opens up. I'm going to turn it upside down so you can see the whole back. Look at that. That is how the back of the box opens up. And that's the front, the inside of the box. This is exactly the box style that I want. That is my dream. It is a stretch goal because it's pricier to do this kind of box, but this is the box I want for the Unicorn's Journey Tarot. This is my favorite type. I am so excited that this is the kind that they did. But they give you a certificate of authenticity, which is great. And there was some little extras. I think this was related to the Journey Tarot. We're going to find out. Hopefully it wasn't something else. Oh, no, it is this one. That's right. There's a little magnifying glass, which I'm not sure why. Is it because the guidebook print is... We're just going to... Is it the guidebook print? No, the guidebook print's not too terrible. Let's just see. I mean, it's so cute that they sent us a magnifying glass. Like, it's really cute. I don't even know what to say about that. That was kind of a cool touch. So we got a little magnifying glass in with the deck. And then what's in this little pouch? Oh, and then a pin. So we got the pin. Seems like a cool backer extra. I don't know what to do with all this stuff, though. Let's just tuck it all back in here for now. I'm gonna let go. I think I'm going to keep the little magnifying glass out, though, because I think I might just keep that here on my reading table. And then in here, now I don't know if this is something they just gave me because they said thank you for putting Journey in your video, which was really sweet. Thank you, Tegan. But this is kind of a cool thing. I don't know if they threw this mat in for everybody or not, but it's cool. So let me show it to you. Put that over here. And the certificate of authenticity out of the way. I'm hoping this is broken down in the guidebook somewhere. And then we have a astrological year. So for Cancer, Sun, yeah, I don't know what this is or how it works, but it looks really cool. So, and it's a really like heavy duty material. So that's neat. So that was in there. All right. Let's look at the actual deck though. The box is not very intuitive to open because you can't quite tell which way is up. But I love how like minimalist the whole thing is. Like it's actually really pretty to see it like that. It's kind of neat too because I'm looking at templates for my printer for my own box and trying to figure out how all the pieces go together, and that's kind of interesting. Anyways, let's get into the actual book. So this is the cover of the book. There's a unicorn. Y'all, I'm obsessed. Every single card in this deck has a poem in the guidebook. This is what the backings look like. If y'all want a walkthrough, ooh, that's cool. That looks like a chakra chart. Huh. This is a linen finish cardstock. Feels like a really nice quality. It's quite thick. So for a reference point, I don't know that this is black core cardstock. It doesn't feel that bendy. It could, I mean, it's possible. But like this is 330 GSM black core, and this is much stiffer. So I think, yeah, you can really tell the difference. I don't think this is 330. I'm guessing this is probably 350. But if like I pull out my whole deck and put it next to the Journey, there's like that many extra cards. So it's quite, let me put it sideways so you can really see. It's quite thick, right? So, but we'll see how it feels for flex. Yeah, it feels kind of stiff. We'll find out. But feels very nice quality overall. Does not feel papery. Yeah, it just doesn't feel as bendy as I normally like for linen, but it does have that linen texture. Anyways, okay, I'm all over the place. So this is a hand illustrated deck, and there's the Fool, the Magician, the Great Way, which is the Chariot. Well, it's numbered for the Chariot. The Sage for the Hierophant. Let's pull another one. The Liberation for Judgment. 6 of Fire. Interesting. 7 of Fire. Knight of Fire. 7 of Water. You know what this reminds me of looking through it? It reminds me of the, what is that Dream Tarot? Not Lucid Dreams. The one by Liminal 11. Somebody's going to be shouting at the screen. I had it for a bit. It's really colorful, really beautiful, but kind of abstract. Somebody's going to know. Somebody's going to know. If you know what deck I'm talking about, comment down below. But it reminds me of that. It's got a bit of dreamy otherworldliness to it, like a little bit of surreality. Is that a word? Surreality? I just made it up. There's the Knight of Water. Oh, let's look at the 9. Y'all know how I feel. Oh, look at the 9. It's like a bathtub. The 9 of Water. Oh, I want to go in that bath right now. Okay. Here is some air cards. There's the 4 of Air. Actually, you know what? Since this is a recent deck roundup, not a walkthrough, let me grab the 9 of Water, because we know we're going to want to look at the guidebook, and then I'll just read one of the card entries from the guidebook. So I think I interrupted myself earlier, story of my life, but I backed this deck in the middle of a hot takes video because I was so enchanted by both the artwork and the poems. So let's read the 9 of Water poem, which should come after Fire. Yes, it does. So first we get a keyword, indulgence. Interesting. That's the second deck. Gosh darn it. The Sacred Shei Tarot also used indulge from the 9 of Cups, which is so interesting. Anyway, so it has the astrology, Moon in Pisces, and here's what it says. I spare no expenses to indulge in the senses. I want what I am worth, the very best of earth. Bring to me the warmth, the merry, and the mirth. Okay, that sounds like the 9 of Pentacles again. What the heck, Tegan? Okay, hold on. I need to go now to the 9 of Earth, because didn't that even sound like the 9 of Earth? Totally? Is it just me? Am I just missing the boat on something? Am I having a whole moment? Okay, here's the 9 of Earth in the Journey Tarot. Let me just pull up the card so you can see what the image looks like. That's the 9 of Earth. Let's see what the poem is. Luxury. Okay. Crystal city of the highest class, icy opalescence resembling glass, divine energy, the highest potential, love for quality that becomes evidential. And there's also quality, mastery, and timber. So there's 3 keywords at the bottom of every card as well. So the 9 of Water keywords were pleasure, frivolity, and opulence. I'm annoyed only because, like, I'm so picky, y'all. I'm so picky about the 9 of Water. I really am. But to me, it's, I guess, indulgence, sure. But to me, it's more about, like, self-contentment. I don't know. That's a me thing. That's totally a me thing. But let's pull a different one. Let's grab the 5 of Fire. Actually, let's grab the 5 of Air, because that's a tricky card. Ooh, or let's do the 3 of Air. Let's do the 3 of Air, just out of curiosity. So the 3 of Air looks like this in this deck. What I love about this is it's a very unique take on the tarot. And there's a lot, like, in the card to visually work with as well. So let's just see what the 3 of Air says. Oh, and the main keyword is sorrow, Jupiter and Libra. So it says, the sky is bigger than it seems. One side is crumpled self-esteem. On the other, a sun that brightly beams, opposites that are much too extreme. Sorrow because it never existed. Out of mind where it got twisted. Somewhere, but I must have missed it. Heartbreak because it has persisted. Heartbreak, grief, and inversions. Okay, I really like that actually. Although grief again is a card I would put with, is a keyword I'd put with a different card. But y'all, I have keyword feelings, okay? I wrote an entire book focused on the concept of keywords. Like, I feel very strongly about keywords. I have opinions about keywords. That's a me thing. But when I tell you, this is a very cool, unique deck, and I really want to absorb the artwork. Like, if I look at the Fool, for example, and I take the little magnifying glass, because I do have old eyes, and I look, there's like a little duck in the pond. There's a little boat. There's a lot of little things going on. There's a little bird down there. Person climbing into this like hammock above the rapids here. I don't know. There's just something very dreamy about this deck. And I really like it. I think it's really unique. I think it's special. And I'm so pleased that I backed it. So really excited about it overall. Also, I'm sorry for yelling at you, Tegan, about the Nine of Water. Listen, I have feelings about the Nine of Water. It's just a thing for me. It's just a thing for me. But, oh, 8 is Reverie. Interesting. Living within, reverse, and vision escaping everything. The dream is nigh, deception is mine. This is the sign. Nearly cloud 9, and now I've crossed the line. Oh, interesting. That's the 8 of Water. Daydream, idealization, and chimeric. Well, that's usually interesting. Okay. 7 of Water as impasse, indecision. Okay. So some of these takes are going to be different, and I'm excited to be challenged by it, if I'm being honest. So we will see. We will see where we end up, but it's a very unique deck, and I'm excited to spend some time with it. So as always, y'all, if you saw something in this video that you really want me to dive into in more depth, please let me know in the comments down below. If there's a lot of requests for one particular deck or to see something in specific, either a full walkthrough, a deep dive, or maybe you want to see me work with the Notorian, Goetia, Dante's Inferno, and Mausolea decks, or maybe you want to see me do the Everyday Witch with the Oracle. Like, if you have things you want to see, let me know. That helps me to plan my content and lets me know what you're interested in, especially if things that have just come in. Members, if you want to see any of these specific decks in member readings, be sure and let me know. If this video comes after our member reading stream, I'm trying to remember if it does or not this month, then I can keep that in mind for the following month. So if you are a magical unicorn or a badass unicorn and you want to see this in our stream and want me to read with it, let me know. Because when there's multiple requests, I try to get those in also when I'm planning decks. So with that said, thank you so much for hanging out with me, everybody. I love showing all the new stuff that has come in. I should be slowing my roll now for a little bit because I'm going to be a busy girl. So we will see how it unfolds in the next month. But until the next time we do one of these, thank you so much. Extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. Thank you so much for your tangible support of the channel and my work here. It really hugely makes a difference, especially with all of the projects on my plate right now. It has been enormously helpful. So thank you so much. You really are helping to make dreams come true here in this space, and I appreciate you more than you could ever know. To all of you watching and contributing by just giving your time here, that matters. That really makes a difference. If you are subscribing or commenting, liking or even disliking the videos, all of those things helps me and helps the channel to grow. So thank you so much. As always, y'all, until the next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.